is Craig Nixon, aka Craigers, Craigie. I'm gonna butcher this, but white man. So a fun fact about Craig is that he is a triple nerd, or was a triple nerd, in that he played, he still is a triple nerd. He played soccer, and it wasn't very popular in the 70s. And he was in band. This one time when I was in band camp. And he was just a nerd to begin with. So his song is, and bear with me, but JJ by Lady Cara featuring Spotless. So please welcome me, help me welcome Craig to the stage.
Get some feng shui going here. All right, perfect. So there was no one to bring me cake. This is my love story. It's been a full 10 years since the death of my marriage, and this is where my love story actually begins. My wife for 24 years chose a different path in life, which meant I needed a new path as well. I had just been selected for a position in Afghanistan for our newly expanding office in Kabul, which meant I'd be leaving behind my two daughters. One was just beginning college, the other was finishing high school. And I'm really appreciative of them because at the time they probably didn't know what all was going on, and they may still not today, but they were very supportive of me and the transition, and they always made time for me when I came back to America for visits. That was I would come here, and that was great. So it was this path of self-actualization that led me to start to understand who I was, who I am, and what I believe. And ironically, Afghanistan was a perfect venue for this. Our compound was essentially a prison. We had walls and fences and sniper screen, but those were designed to keep the bad guys out, not in. So my room, and we call it the hooch. My room was about the size of half the size of a college dorm room. Had a twin bed, very few amenities. We didn't have a whole lot of distraction from the routine. Eat, sleep, work out, repeat. And that was kind of our day-to-day life. But one of the differences there from what I was accustomed to was my Afghan colleagues, who, for the most part, 99.9% Muslim, this brought a whole new perspective to my being because this was all different. And I was immediately challenged by a verse in the Bible that says to be prepared to explain your faith, the verses of your hope, that you essentially explain your faith. And with these Afghans, I had plenty of opportunity. They were always asking me what I believe. So I'm thankful for that. I probably wasn't as thankful then as I am now because I didn't really know then what I know now, but it was a great opportunity, a great experience. One of my colleagues was Omar, and he was a translator, worked for us. He was born in Afghanistan, and he fled probably with his parents back when Kabul fell to the Taliban. So he escaped to the U.S., lived his life, but later on he decided to go back to work and was working for us. He and I had a lot of experiences and conversations, and one of the experiences, and one of my colleagues, John, is here. He can attest to this. We were driving back from the embassy one afternoon or late afternoon, and it was starting to get dark. And dark in Afghanistan is different than the dark here, or pretty much dark anywhere. Because not only is it dark, there's no street lights, there's no moonlight, there's no starlight. All there is a brown haze from all the dust. So you're fighting the darkness and haze. And next thing I know, the road I'm on ends at a drainage ditch, and I had taken a wrong turn somewhere in Kabul, Afghanistan. not a good feeling. So fortunately, Omar was with me, and with his basic familiarity with Kabul and his ability to speak the language, we were able to get directions back to the main road and eventually made it back to our camp. But it was during one of these type of adventures that we were on that we had an interesting exchange. We got talking about religion. He grew up Muslim, and but he admitted to me, if you want to call it an admission, that he didn't really practice Islam anymore. So he wanted to know what I believe. So he asked me, tell me about your religion. This is probably one of the first times that I had this feeling that I didn't like that word religion. And it just kind of is weird. It hit me wrong. And it's like, if it's not that, then what do I believe? And it's at that moment that this came to me, and it's stuck with me ever since. But I told Omar, it's not about religion, it's about relationship. He's like, okay, what does that mean? And so I think, oh great, now I got to explain this to him. I mean, I'm digging myself, even deeper than I was when I hit that dead end, a few weeks ago. So I told Omar the story about marriage, and these two guys were riding along. And the guy asked his buddy, how's your wife? He goes, we're married. Like, okay, but how is she? So so we had a wedding. It's a beautiful ceremony. And the buddy says, but tell me about her. So, she's my wife. She's a good woman. And the story kind of just goes on. Much like how we view God in a lot of senses, we see him as a status, as a ritual, and sometimes even an object. And it just goes to show, it just shows me, where's the relationship? And for me, religion is much easier than relationship. All religion requires is to show up. I'm here, where's my seat? That's where I always sit, right? I always sit in the same seat at the end, so I can cross my legs and my fancy top show. But relationship is hard, it takes work. And so I'm really grateful to Omar, because this was one of the few things in life that kind of changed my perspective and changed my thinking. So it probably wasn't too much longer after that. I was listening to Life Church on the internet. I was overseas, and the pastor, Craig Rochelle, was telling the story about the Israelites, how they were given hundreds of laws to follow. They failed miserably and continually. And then Moses reduced the law to 10. So adhering to the 10 Commandments is difficult at best. But then Jesus came onto the scene and gave 2 commands: love God and love others. And that was profound. It was a paradigm shift. I'm thinking, man, life just got simpler. So that was really another turning point to realize how simple it really was. So by now you're probably asking, how is this a love story? Well, it just goes to show that in my small human mind, I thought loving my wife and loving my family was an honorable thing, but God demands to be first. He demands to be loved first. And that was, it seems obvious, but until you do it, it's not obvious. And my ability to love was limited by my love is finite. It has limits. It's imperfect. All the negative things I can think of is how I was. So with God demanding to be first, it doesn't mean that He wants us to divorce our wives, to see our families destroyed. It just goes to the order of things. We must love God first in order to more completely and fully love others, to love my wife, my family, and others. Otherwise, it's incomplete. My love is sometimes has motives. Sometimes it's self-seeking. Sometimes it's greedy. I'm going to change channels here for a second. But through Christ, who strengthens me, love can be perfect. So, what I realized through my experience in life is that I'm really good at building walls. It's a lot easier than allowing people in. And so much so, and again, I'm gonna pick on John here, and he can tell you this is, a lot of my stories, I got a lot of stories, some of them are true, but this one's a true story. So I was at work a while back before I retired, and I gave John a D-Day 19 requisition. He's looking at it, he's like, bricks, mortar, cement, and tools. He goes, what's this for? No, it's just to build a wall. I'm like, what do you need a wall for? I said, what else am I going to beat my head against? And it has nothing to do with this story, it just goes to show that working for the government, it would come in handy. But I'm good at building walls. That's kind of been my theme. So a friend of mine, we were talking on Skype. This was, again, still in Afghanistan. And she would see things I post on Facebook and things we're doing, running around, doing the things we did there. And she says, is there anything you're afraid of? Wow. But that wasn't the whole question. She says, is there anything you're afraid of besides women? Yeah, I'm like, thank you very much for that. I've got a punch, little reality check, and this is the same friend that also asks is, why do you always want what you can't have? So she and I are friends no more. But relationships have come and gone, mostly by my hand, for fear and lack of faith. So we'll fast forward to kind of present day. There was a question that Kanu posed on her site, and the question was: Is true love a choice or a feeling? So I thought about it, then I responded to her, and I'll tell you a little bit briefly here. But I believe true love is a choice that follows a feeling, because if I rely on feelings alone, they're going to fail. I know me. I mean, they'll wither under my self-induced pressure again. So I felt like I was in love before, or not in love. I felt there was true love before. Maybe not a romantic love, but maybe a platonic love or a brotherly love between friends. But the few times, if that many, that true love actually presented itself, I missed. Sometimes taking a swing at it, other times watching 3 pitches across the plate. And that was in my 3 strikes. So after I finished up my tour in Afghanistan, I was there for a few years before I was transferred to Nigeria, to Lagos. So it was I remember the night distinctly. It's a beautiful poolside reception for one of my colleagues that was retiring. She was a diplomat with the State Department, and I was there as a counter drug attaché for the consulate there in Lagos. And I sat at a table with the only people I recognized, and there was one seat remaining. Well, this attractive young lady comes up and asks seat stay. And I'm like, trying to conjure up some words, because I was kind of stunned and speechless, if you can imagine that. And I don't know if it was her beauty or her Mary Poppins English accent, or both. And to this day, I don't know if I just thought the words or if they actually came out of my mouth. Like, where have you been all my life? And that was another one of those turning points. So I pursued her. We dated. We attended social and diplomatic functions. I even met her mom and her family. I won her. We talked about us. We talked about the future, and goals and expectations. And then I left her. I just felt that I didn't live up to the expectations, not hers but mine. And so, telling Jojo the story, he pretty much summed it up, saying, you met her expectation of men. and he's not afraid anymore. So my relational downfall, aside from the fear and lack of faith, is my inability or unwillingness to commit. Not to a woman, but to an idea, an ideal. So there's this verse in Proverbs that says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. So I think what I was doing was treating my heart like one might treat a bank vault. Keep it closed and locked, and it's safe, right? That's where you keep it safe. But that renders the vault only partially useful. So to become fully functional, the vault needs to be open. People need to be allowed inside. They need to be able to make deposits, make withdrawals. And as a feeling, relational people, we ought to be allowing people into our own safe deposit boxes where we keep our most prized and intimate possessions. So, unlike the other stories you hear tonight, there's no happy ending to this story. In fact, there's no ending. The story's still ongoing. I'm still pursuing the ideal, pursuing the idea, and maybe someday someone will bring the cake.